everyone, you are watching the UK's only TV show that's all about mental health and well-being issues. Yes, we are the Chrissy B Show and I'm your host, Chrissy B. Now I'd like you to think about something. Imagine feeling really anxious about going shopping or terrified about speaking on the phone. How do you think that would affect your life? Well, this is what thousands of people with social anxiety disorder, also known as social phobia, have to deal with on a daily basis. Everyday activities that seem straightforward and simple to us can feel like a nightmare for those that have this disorder. But why does it happen? What makes a person more susceptible to social anxiety? And is there a cure? You'll find all the answers on today's show. So let me tell you about my guest for today, a lovely young woman who has social anxiety but is fighting it for herself and for others through her music, and that is Nicola Elias. She'll be performing her song at the end of the show called Social Anxiety. And we have our resident psychologist, Dr Audrey Tang, answering all our questions such as why it happens, what makes a person more prone to social anxiety, treatments available, and also the difference between a social phobia and shyness. And we also have Nicola's mum on, Myrianthi, who'll be sharing her experience as a mother with someone that has social anxiety. We'll also be illustrating through some actors two different social situations from the point of view of someone with this anxiety. Now, one is a first date and the other friends going out for breakfast. And also there are 5 things that people with social anxiety disorder often describe their parents as, and I'll be sharing those later with you. And please, this is not to blame the parents in any way, but just for us to cover different angles on the programme. And we also have a recipe with Daniel Shine later on. But first, let's read out a few tweets about social anxiety. Someone here says, good enough, and I can't be myself around my classmates because of my social anxiety. And I really try, but it takes so much energy. Someone else says, my social anxiety is so bad that I can't even be in the restroom when other people are in there. And Miller says, really bad social anxiety, sucks because I'm behind in school now. And someone called Myrianthi, I think, she says, I was supposed to meet up with a friend an hour ago for coffee, but bailed out because I'm scared of being around people. And Blondie says, I have the worst social anxiety ever and literally none of my friends and family understand. Well, actually, that's exactly the reason why we're doing this show today, to help understand and also to offer help and support. So before we go any further, let's have the news with Helena Shard. Welcome to the show, Helena.
Thank you, Chrissy. So this was great researching. I have to say, a real eye-opener, completely. But I have to say, when I was researching, they were saying SAD, but there's also seasonal affective disorder, which is something completely different, which threw me a bit. So that was unusual. And also reading it's the 3rd largest mental health issue, I think, in the world, which I hadn't realised. So, so moving on to the news, lots of great things and not so great things. So to begin with, 50 Cent, naughty 50 Cent, you know, the rapper, musician. So he has been shamed for mocking a young man, 19, Andrew Farrell, his name is, a janitor in Cincinnati. In fact, every bit of news for some reason was in Cincinnati. This time reading, it was really odd. And since it's an airport, he suffers with autism, and he accused him of being high, and basically he was socially anxious. So as you can imagine, he actually uploaded it on Instagram, you know, him talking to him, and he was so rude. It was just awful. It completely put me off him. So
you liked him in the first place?
Not particularly, but I didn't. I was like, either way, you know, I'd take him or leave him. But he's been completely blasted because of the rude way he spoke to him, and everyone's come to his defence. The flip side is there is a positive side, that he is actually truly sorry for his actions. He said it's an unfortunate misunderstanding, and then sort of he wanted to turn this misunderstanding into an understanding, which is good. Doesn't mean I like him, but I still think when you can make it into a positive.
When someone makes a mistake like that, but to put something on Instagram is, I think, is a bit out of order. But the fact, at the same time, it has brought a lot of awareness, hasn't it?
It has.
And this is what we say sometimes on this programme, because people that are going through certain mental health issues or any issues in life, they also are sometimes very quick to kind of say, oh, how could you talk to me like this, or how could you say this about me? But sometimes it's not a case that the person's being horrible, just that they don't understand, they don't get it, they're ignorant of what's going on. So I think rather than being upset, I think it's better to actually just bring more awareness and explain for people to know.
Yeah, I think so. I think naughty still, because he put it on Instagram, wanted to raise his profile, which wasn't so good. Anyway, but he has apologised. Something to do with the fact that his drink was also being boycotted in the area because people really didn't like what he did. But he has made a big donation to a worthy cause, which is Autism Speaks, and he's actually called to all his fellow musicians to help and to make people more aware. So, you know.
I don't know, it's warming up to him now.
Sort of, I don't know. I think he had to do it really, didn't he? So moving on to someone who's been doing her tour, Adele, who I love her music. She obviously has named her albums after her ages, so 19, 21, 25. Some of this is quite interesting because researching on social side of things, it sort of flits into different anxieties as well. So some of the news, so like performance anxiety is slightly different, but so you'll see as I go through. Anyway, so she actually said she is scared of audiences. She's improved because obviously you can get help, which she'll talk about later. And she confessed one show in Amsterdam, she was so nervous that she actually escaped through the fire exit. And she even has thrown up over somebody. She really gets anxiety a lot. So there's a social side of it, which leads to the other sides of things. But I was quite, I was aware of it, but I didn't realise it was so extreme. So she's got help for that. Also, one thing that she does in her concerts, which is lovely, is that she always calls people onto the stage. And she saw a young girl who's 12 and she was holding a sign saying, please, please, I really want to sing with Adele. Called her onto the stage. Her name's Emily Tamman. And she is autistic, but she usually struggles with social situations, but amazingly loved it and just sang her heart out, had a fantastic time. And her father actually said that she has a constant struggle, but amazingly can sing in public. She's a completely different person. Right. So really lovely to see. Moving on to a lady called Nikki Ledbetter. She actually talks about her anxiety as being a motivator, which I think is great, turning it around to a positive. Despite suffering with anxiety disorder and panic attacks, she's managed to run 2 mental health charities, so Self-Help and Anxiety UK. And she has done incredibly well. She's so passionate about what she's done. And she said if she hadn't had her anxiety, she probably wouldn't have achieved everything she has achieved. So she has done so well. So she first started Self-Help and wanted to create a safe space because she had panic attacks and sort of been to A&E and realised there was no help for her. Not medical support, but sort of like a safe area where she could talk to people. And she actually managed to open the Sanctuary in Manchester, which is a massive place that people can visit, which is lovely. And since then, another 2 places have opened in the north. She's based in Manchester. And what's her secret of success? She leads by gut instinct, and she always says if you follow your heart, and if there's a need for something, there'll be evidence of it, and you can't go wrong. And obviously, if you've got like a national strategy to make it work, you're onto a winner. So good for her. Kim Basinger, 62. She's a former fashion model, but actually she's back in fashion again because she's at 60. She got her another modelling contract, but she was completely withdrawn as a child and sent for tests, and they didn't find anything was wrong. She struggled, and she's always well known for struggling and talking about her social anxiety. Ironically appeared in a film called Panic, which is a film about coping, which in fact helped her. But her teachers thought she was having a breakdown and various things. But she's done incredibly well with her films when you think about it. Moving on to Donny Osmond, probably more from our time, Chrissy. He started with stage fright at the age of 6, moved on to stage fright in amazing Technicolor raincoat. Had a complete fear of performing, which then moved on to other areas of his life. And he found himself then afraid to go out into public, afraid to be in stores, was worrying what people were thinking of him, even thought about drinking because he thought he could just take himself away. He didn't realise he was suffering from social anxiety disorder, but as soon as he got help, it was the best thing ever. Because he was a performer, he was embarrassed to get help, but obviously moved on, which was great for him. How not to, I found this article quite interesting. I don't suffer with social anxiety disorder, which is great, but it's something that was brought out for Mental Health Awareness Week, and it was how not to talk to people with anxiety. And it was just quite interesting reading, listening to these general quotes. Paul Coleshaw, 32, from Liverpool, don't say, oh, I get that, you'll be fine in a minute. And Elizabeth Yarlott, probably the worst thing to say is stop worrying. How can you associate a life-changing condition and dismiss it as worrying? Salma Begum, don't be silly, think positively. It's not that we don't think positively, it's just that anxiety overrides it. So it's, and there was one other one as well, where Tiffany Stoneman was talking about, she feels it's a myth that it's all in your head, because obviously her whole body responds to it, and that's what she was thinking. Can't you just cheer up? It can't be that bad. Her boyfriend sort of talked to her like that, but then realised that actually she just needed a hug and a cup of tea. So, yeah.
I mean, this is the thing as well with when I was depressed, and I'd hear the words, normally from my boyfriend at the time, but he's still with me. My
baby.
Can't you just get over it? Or just, and you hear other things, other people saying, just snap out of it, but it's not something that you're doing on purpose, it's just there, and you can't just snap. Are you telling me that if people could just snap out of it, that they wouldn't do it? So that people don't, and it kind of makes you feel worse, because it's like you think, oh, well, I'm really on my own because no one understands me, no one understands how I feel, so let me just keep it to myself, let me just suffer in silence, because if I tell anyone, that's the kind of reaction that I get. Although this was a number of years ago, I think things are a lot better than they used to be, and people are being a lot more open about talking about their issues, and people are kind of more people understanding. Those that don't have mental health issues are understanding better the ones that do. So there has been some progress, but we need to do more, definitely.
Of course. Quickly, Jennifer Lawrence, again, was speaking to a French magazine. Her mother said that when she was very young, she was really inspired, she was completely, over everything, really inspired by absolutely everything. But when she started school, it was almost like the lights went out, and she developed social anxiety, which she luckily managed to get rid of again when she moved on to secondary school. But that was interesting. And I will finish on a lovely story about an animal lover, Casey Valentine, who's just 24 in the UK, and a cuddly raccoon called Cody. And it's a really nice story. So Casey Valentine had a crippling social anxiety, and her health problems left her feeling isolated. She couldn't believe her luck when she spotted an ad on Gumtree. I mean, of all these ads, where there was a guy that had a raccoon, couldn't look after it, didn't know what to do, and wanted to find a home for him. She obviously, she'd always been fond of them, and decided to home him. And it has really helped her a lot. She used to be so fearful of going outside and making friends, but by putting Cody's, first, she takes it for a walk and everything. How do you hold a Now, I know that sounds, I actually looked into it because I thought, could that be a little bit cruel? But in fact, she has had authorities round, and they've passed the fact that you have to give them lots of love and lots of walk and everything.
All right. So like a dog then?
I mean, they're beautiful.
Just go and walk the raccoon.
They're absolutely beautiful.
Thank you so much, Helena.
Thank you,
We'll
Chrissy.
see you again next week. All right, guys, so don't go away, because after the break, I'll be joined by Nicola Elias to tell us about coping with social anxiety and fighting it for herself and for others through her music, and her mum, Myrianthi, and our resident psychologist, Dr Audrey Tang, answering all our questions. Hi, I'm Chrissy B, and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show, and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Welcome back to today's program, everyone, which is all about coping with social anxiety. And I have with me Nicola and Myrianthi Elias, and also our resident expert, Dr Audrey Tang. Hello, ladies, and welcome to the show.
Hello.
Okay, so first of all, I'd like to introduce to you Nicola now. I think Nicola's been amazingly brave, because you do suffer from social anxiety, but through your music, you're able to express yourself. So we're going to speak to a bit first. You let us know maybe how it started. Mum's here to support as well, and you'll be telling us from your point of view. And then Audrey, you'll be telling us more about social anxiety, you know, what causes it, the symptoms, and also the treatment that's available.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Nicola, let's start with you. So when did you first realise that there was you had difficulty, like sort of being around people and socialising?
Well, it started in secondary school.
Mm-hmm.
There was girls in the older year, and it wasn't physical bullying, it was like whispering and looking, and that made me very anxious. And
was that the first time you'd experienced anything like that? So before that, everything was okay?
yeah, the first year of the secondary school I was fine.
Yeah.
I was quite happy and used to like doing drama, and I used to volunteer to read out to the class. And
Okay.
but then, yeah, there was these group of girls. So that made me anxious because I was just worried about them all the time, and I didn't want to be near them because I felt panicky, and I couldn't tell my friends because I was embarrassed. So, and I didn't eat because I was scared.
And were you in contact? Were they around for a few years, those girls? Because it was in school, you said, secondary school. But you tried to avoid them and stuff then?
Yeah, it was a few years. Well,
Did it affect your friendships? Because you said you had friends. Did you kind of close off from your friends as well, or were you okay with your friends?
I was fine with my friends.
Okay.
It's just I couldn't tell them that I was scared of other girls.
Why? Why do you think that was?
Because I was embarrassed, and I felt.
Okay. And how did it affect you in other areas? Because what you do now, you're still studying now?
No.
Okay. But as you went through like school and stuff like that, how did it affect you? Did it affect your relationship with your family at all?
Well, I didn't want to go to school. I found it very hard. And concentrating on my work as well. There was also girls in the same year as me as well. And I wasn't in the same classes as my friends, so it was even more hard. And people always used to ask me why am I so quiet, and once...
Did that make you feel worse?
Yeah, it did. And a teacher asked me in front of the whole class if I had a tongue. And it was really horrible. I always remember that. So stuff like that as well, and it made things worse for me.
Okay. All right, Mum, now, so when did you notice that Nicola was struggling with things?
Yes, when she was in the secondary school, and she started to tell me about these girls in the older year.
Yeah.
They used to whisper and giggle, and if she walked past them, they would sort of go silent and look at her, and you could hear whispering. I did mention it to the school. But then Nicola, at the age of 14, she got ill with a really bad virus. And for 2 weeks she was in bed. And when she recovered, it left her with ME, chronic fatigue syndrome. And so when she went back to school, she would text me all the time saying she was falling asleep, and obviously she was stressed as well about these girls. So she was dealing with two things now, the social anxiety as well as ME. She was home tutored because she couldn't attend school, so the education had to supply home tutors for her. Obviously, being at home now, she wasn't with her friends, that she became really quite isolated. So the only people really that she had was her immediate family, and her friend would come, one friend would come and visit her. But it was at that point that things seemed to, it became like a phobia. She you know, in all situations, she was finding it really terrible. Panic attacks.
Yeah.
She still gets like that now. But it was at that point, obviously, when she developed ME, being at home.
How did you feel as a mum, or what did you try to do?
Oh gosh, I was always running to the doctors, and they did refer her to the hospital. She had several tests, and don't forget they were dealing with ME as well.
Yeah.
It was very difficult. She's my daughter, and we're very close.
Yeah, I can tell.
So I had to learn about ME
Yeah.
and social anxiety.
Did you blame yourself at any point?
Not at all.
Because I want to make that point clear, because my mum did. My parents were great, but my mum really. Remember, we spoke about this once, didn't we, Audrey? That many parents that go through, well, when their children are going through difficulties, they seem to blame themselves, and it's great that you didn't, because my mum really like, oh, it was my fault, what did I do wrong, I didn't bring you up well, and I wasn't there. So many things, and she was a great mum.
It's also
Still
why
is.
sufferers with any form of mental disability or disorder don't want to say something, because they're so afraid that their parents will blame themselves as well.
That's it.
Nicola's always been a shy child. But obviously, as I said, you know, she was fine, she had her friends. Things kind of changed in the secondary school and got worse when she developed chronic fatigue syndrome.
Okay. Now, Audrey, I'm going to bring you in now, because can you tell us more about social anxiety, how it develops? And I know there's loads to talk about, but if you can...
Well, you explained it as a phobia, and it is a complex phobia. Simple phobias are things like a fear of spiders, where you can continue with going on your lives, but a complex phobia tends to be debilitating as well. It's exactly that feeling of you don't want to leave the house. You start avoiding the situations that make you feel very uncomfortable, very unpleasant. And also with social anxiety as well, there is a tendency to overanalyze, which then leads to a bit of a vicious circle where you start thinking, well, I mean, in your case, these girls sound absolutely horrible, but that does mean that any time you see anybody and they may talk about something which isn't even anything to do with you, you can't help but think, what's going on? So there is that tendency to overanalyze as well. And the thing about social anxiety is that it used to be, when we had the DSM-4 classification, a childhood disorder, but it's now been recognised in adults in the DSM-5. But it is that chronic fear to the point of avoiding the situation over a period of more than 6 months. And this is clearly a social anxiety situation. It is different from shyness. Shyness, exactly as you say, you can have one or two friends, you may be quiet, but you don't mind social situations. With social anxiety, it is the palpitations, it's the sweating, nausea, all of those horrible physical symptoms. And sometimes it's even the fear of displaying the symptoms that stop you from going out at all.
Okay. Now, Nicola, I want to talk about your music now, because the music, actually writing about things has helped you. Have you always been musical, would you say?
I always wanted to learn the guitar, and I've always liked music, but I've not. It started from 16.
Okay. And tell us about the songs that you write, because you're going to be performing one later called Social Anxiety, as I said in the intro. So how did you go about starting it all? Because now you have your YouTube channel, you post your songs there, you've got loads of followers.
Well, it started, I decided to do it a year ago.
It's only been a year?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But I did want to do it for a few years before, but I was very nervous about what people would say about my songs and that. But I just decided that I'd like to share them.
Yeah.
And
What was the first song that you wrote? Do you remember? Was it social anxiety, was it?
No.
Okay.
I can't remember what it was. It was not a very good one, though. Your first songs are not very good.
You'll try one, a practice one.
Yeah.
So have you written, there's quite a few on your YouTube channel?
I think there's 4, 5.
Oh, you did different versions of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And the song, how does writing and performing even like help you?
Well, it's like therapy for me. And it's like getting it off my chest, what I'm going through.
Yeah.
It really helps me feel a lot better after I write a song.
And how have people been like, because you said before that you were kind of a bit scared about how people would react and stuff. How's the feedback been?
Very positive.
Yeah.
So that's helped me a lot. So of all the messages I receive, it really helps me. And other people who suffer with social anxiety and depression as well. And they can say they really relate to my music.
Yeah. That's great. And it's something that I like actually in the lyrics of your song towards the end, you say about fighting it and one day you'll be back to how you used to be, which I think it was even though that the song really sort of shows things that you went through, but also at the same time you give that positive thing at the end where you say, I'm fighting it and I'll be back to how I was before, which I think is great and is so important. So I think the song's brilliant, the lyrics are great. Guys, I've run out of time, but I was going to let these two go, but I'm not going to let them go because I want them to stay on for a bit more, just to talk a bit more, okay, if that's okay with you both. And we're going to still have Audrey with us, so join us after this. Hi, I'm Chrissy B and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Welcome back everybody to today's programme where we are speaking all about social anxiety, and I've actually kept my guests on because I'd like to speak to them all. That's Nicola, Myrianthi and also Audrey. So Nicola's been telling us about her struggles with social anxiety and what it's been like for her, and also started to speak about her music. And Myrianthi, you've been obviously telling us how it's been from a mum's point of view and trying to help Nicola. So you were talking about the singing, how the writing the songs, and it has been really good for you and the positive feedback that you get from people, which is really great. So where do you see the future then? Are you going to continue, would you like to continue writing songs and doing more of that?
Yeah, because I really enjoy it, and I know it's helping people, and that's what I would like to do, to get over it completely, but and also to be like, to show that even though I've got this thing, I'm still doing what I love and fighting through. And
I mean, just being on the show today, as I was saying earlier, just being here, that is I think it's a massive thing. It's so brave, and this is actually proving to everyone as well that you are fighting it, because it's a difficult thing anyway for anyone to come on the show, isn't it? Because people don't like cameras. So that's brilliant. Oh, so Audrey, tell us about the performance side, because obviously music's helping her. Tell us about the connection with music and mental health.
Music, any form of self-expression can help you because it allows you to get your feelings out there. Also with music, you've also got that certain types of music, certain rhythms can be very calming anyway physiologically. Yeah. You was advised to sort of play music to the womb when you're pregnant, that kind of thing. Yeah. But the main thing is that self-expression, so it allows you to get the feelings out, not bottle them up, but also it helps you explain those feelings to other people in a way that they can then understand a little bit better as to what you're going through and how to approach you, and to sort of get that. I mean, as Helena spoke about with 50 Cent, the news story, yes, he probably wasn't meaning to behave badly, but at least raising awareness, knowing about it can make a huge difference. The other thing about performance that I think is important to touch on is that, I know this is another misunderstanding, people are going to look at performers and say, well, they can perform, they can't have social anxiety, this can't be an issue. But the sheer amount of energy that you've had to have to get through today, let alone anything else, will knock you out the next day. And that can make, that's something that no one sees. As soon as the curtains close, as soon as the cameras go down, all the focus and all that strength that you've had needs to replenish. And so one thing that I would like people to understand about performers is that it takes a lot to get to that level of that performance, and then you need to withdraw, you need to bring down the shutters for a while to recharge your batteries. And that's where I think people misunderstand it. They think performers can be on the whole time, and it's not true.
Can't. Okay. Now, Nicola, tell us about your cats, because that's something that we really have, actually you as well, Myrianthi, us girls really have in common, because I can talk about my cat all day. Tell us about yours.
Well, he's ginger and white. He's called Monguini. He's very fat.
Do you keep feeding him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
How does he help you?
Well, he's helped a lot with the depression. He's made me feel a lot happier. He just helps. He does funny things, so I'm always laughing at him, and makes me happy.
Yeah, they're just so cute, aren't they? Like we say, we've actually spoken about this on another show, Audrey, about how like even just stroking a cat or a pet just kind of releases something.
It releases oxytocin, which is the bonding hormone, and that calms us down as well. And it's lovely to have animals because they love you unconditionally. There's no judgment from an animal. They're just there for you. They can just sense that mood. And as I say, just that stroking releases oxytocin.
Now, Nicola, you're going to be performing for us a bit later on. So you're going to perform the song Social Anxiety. How long did it take you to write that?
Maybe half an hour, something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing, isn't it? Because that is a gift. Wow. Okay, so we're going to be hearing that. And
music as well.
What was that, Mummy? What should
No, sorry, I was just asking.
And the music as well. You did the. So you do everything from scratch.
No, it was just the lyrics.
The lyrics.
And the guitar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Music takes a bit longer.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you have to be sort of like completely by yourself to write?
Yeah.
Yeah, just to concentrate and stuff. Or is your cat there? Tell me the truth.
Yeah, he actually
He's there. No, he's inspiring. All right, my darling, I think you've been so brave. Thank you so much for coming on today and raising awareness and speaking about your experiences. Myrianthi, thank you so much as well. I know it was difficult, but we did it. It was really good. So glad. Audrey, I'm going to keep you on because we are going to talk about a few more things that are related around this topic, guys. So we're just going to go to this quick break and then back. So Audrey, I think Nicola did an amazing job by coming on and doing that.
It's just the strength it took to be here was phenomenal, and it's just so inspirational. Her and Mum.
Yeah, definitely. So tell us a bit more about what causes social anxiety in the first place.
There's thoughts that there may be a genetic cause because it is seen in people where an immediate family member also suffers from social anxiety, but the whole problem is there's no way of actually proving that because the only way you can have a look at someone's brain is post-mortem. So whilst there could be a genetic cause, it could also be the environment that person's brought up in. If your parent is afraid of going outside or afraid of people or just very nervous, that's a tendency you can pick up and start copying as well. Or of course, as Nicola was describing, a traumatic event that can just stop you from wanting to ever enter that situation again. Very simple one might be, a little child who maybe wets himself in public and then is just humiliated there because people laugh and they don't mean to, but the feeling of that shame almost, it just stops you wanting to go into that situation again, just in case, not even that people are going to laugh at you, but the same thing might happen or something like that. And so,
you just get into that cycle afterwards, don't you?
Absolutely.
Okay, now we're going to talk, but let's talk about treatment as well.
Yes,
before I get into these ones.
Well, there are somatic treatments, in other words, medication, but what medication does is it really only treats the anxiety, it doesn't really treat the cause. So therefore, talking therapies tend to be better used. For example, being able to talk about maybe what caused it, getting to the bottom of that, reframing the thought process so that, say in Nicola's example, she stops feeling that everybody who is talking about her, because there's that tendency to overanalyze. Cognitive therapy will help her challenge those thoughts, but then there's also cognitive behavioural therapy where the thought challenging is backed up with behaviours as well. So it might be one day going out to a local shop without very many people there. The next day it might be going a little bit further and then working up to going to a shopping centre. Sort of systematic desensitisation is another way of dealing with it as well.
Okay. Now we've got a couple more situations which we're actually going to illustrate with some actors. Now the first one is an awkward date, we've called it, and this one, you can tell us what you think about this particular video and what is going on. So let's take a look at this.
PR, speaking to different people like every day, and it's just like, it's just so busy, and it's like there's no time for anything anymore. So that's why it's quite nice that Jane Doe sort of said, we should meet up and go for a dinner or whatever. It's nice, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, tell me more about yourself then.
Not much to say really. Like you, I spend a lot of time working. When I'm not working, I have to look for work.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting, isn't it?
So tell me, have you been on a blind date before?
I don't think so, no.
You don't think so? You must know whether you've been on one or not. I'll take that as a no.
I don't really remember. I don't think so.
Anyway, what sort of food do you like? What do you want to eat?
I guess pastas, Italian.
Yeah?
Yeah, something simple.
Italian.
Yeah,
okay.
something simple.
Okay, so you're not fussy, basically, what you're going to eat?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having a look at the menu, just to see what they've got.
Okay, all right then. Okay, let's. I'll tell you what. We'll get the menu when the guy comes over, and then we'll decide something that we both want. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, no problem.
So, do you drink? Would you like something to drink? Some wine, maybe?
Yeah, I could do some wine, yeah.
Okay. Red, white?
You choose, up to you.
You sure?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Okay.
I'll drink anything.
Is there anything you want to ask me? Not too personal, obviously, but, you know.
So what's your mum like?
My mum? It's a bit soon, isn't it?
Silly question. Sorry.
My mum is a crazy, wild Irish woman.
No, I just because I'm a family person, so.
Ah, okay.
So Audrey, your thoughts on that situation?
Awkward date is a lovely example of what people with social anxiety fear could happen to them on a date. One example that sticks in my mind was when I think it's one of the girls asks, tell me about your mother, which seems so inappropriate. But when you're nervous, you can blurt anything out, and that's one of the fears when you have social anxiety.
Yeah.
You think you're going to say something that's completely silly and everyone's going to laugh at you or make you feel embarrassed. Another thing that I noticed with that video is sometimes how somebody with social anxiety or somebody who's feeling shy can actually impact on the other person. So if we take the blonde bubbly girl, to a lot of people she can come across as blonde and bubbly, but it can also be that she's trying extra hard because she's not getting anything from the other person. And so what's actually happening is a bit of a vicious cycle. She's now coming across as a little bit oppressive and frightening, and the date is withdrawing it further and further into their shell, which makes her try and bring out even more. And that's both of them will go home thinking this was horrible, and that was just because one person misread the signs of the other, and actually the problem was on both sides, the misunderstanding was on both sides. It's not necessarily just the person who's feeling awkward, but how you can respond because you're so desperately trying to help.
Okay, now we do have one more acting scene that we'd like to show. This one is friends going for breakfast, but we need to go to a quick break and we'll be back. And also after the break, we're going to be hearing the amazing Nicola singing about social anxiety. So don't go away. Hi, I'm Chrissy B, and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Welcome back to today's programme, which has been all about social anxiety. We've had some amazing guests on, and we will be seeing more of one of our guests, Nicola, a bit later. If you've missed the beginning of this programme, you can head over to our YouTube channel, Chrissy B Show, and watch there in a few days' time. So now we showed you one acting scene before the break to our viewers and to Audrey. So now let's take a look at another social situation that can be very difficult. This is the Breakfast Club, friends going to have a bite to eat.
What do I do? It looks so dirty. I should have brought my own. No, then people think I'm weird. Is there a toilet nearby? I guess I could use it quickly, then go and wash my hands. What if there's no soap? Did I bring my own soap? What if there's someone else in the toilet? I need hand wipes. Maybe I could use them under the table and no one would notice. I don't want to eat this. I could say I've already eaten, but I just ordered this. Why did I order this? I could eat a bit. It looks so greasy though. I don't want to be fat. Everyone will think I'm fat. My thighs look really fat. Do they think I'm fat now? Am I the fattest here?
Why aren't these two speaking? I guess they're not really my friends. Friends talk, don't they? They hate me, probably. Why do they hate me? They're probably plotting secretly how to kill me right now. They must have got the cook to poison the food, or the drink, or both. I bet they think I'm evil. Maybe they're going to kill me after and leave me for dead.
What if Jenna thinks I'm weird? I bet Lucy thinks I'm
They
fat.
hate me, probably.
What if they don't want to be my friends anymore?
Maybe they're going to kill me.
If you're suffering from mental health problems,
From OCD to schizophrenia.
open up to your peers and seek support.
Now, Audrey, you'd never imagine all of that was going on in someone's mind.
And that's the whole problem with social anxiety. You can't see it necessarily. What the Breakfast Club shows is how social anxiety can be a symptom of something else. So if a lot of the examples in that video, people were afraid of cleanliness, the things had to be clean. And so OCD can result in social anxiety because you don't want to go anywhere in case you have to touch something, in case you have to eat with forks and spoons that you can't actually clean, and so on. And so while social anxiety is a disorder in itself, it can also be a symptom of something else. And if it is a symptom of something else, then it's also important to find out so you can treat the something else as well.
Okay, or it's just things just escalating.
Absolutely.
Okay. And actually something else that I'd like to talk about, which I mentioned earlier. Now, this is according to NHS.UK, the behaviour of parents may also have an influence on whether their child will develop social anxiety disorder. So if you have worried or anxious parents, it can often affect your ability to cope with anxiety during childhood, adolescence and adulthood. So this is what they're saying, adulthood, sorry. Now, they're saying people with social anxiety disorder often describe their parents as overprotective, not affectionate enough. I couldn't kind of get that one. I can understand the overprotective.
not affectionate may well be that you're always desperately trying to please the parent, and the parent's not actually giving you the praise and the love that you are craving. And because of that, that keeps you feeling nervous, because you're always, is that going to work? Is this going to work? When are you going to tell me that I've done the right thing? And that anxiety can be generalised into social anxiety.
Something else that they mentioned as well, constantly criticising them and worrying they may do something wrong.
That can be in a relationship or anything similar to that, because if you're constantly criticised, that's when people start walking on eggshells. They don't know what to do to make you happy. And because of that, all they're thinking about is, how do I avoid getting into trouble? That in itself makes you incredibly anxious.
And there's two more that they're saying. Overemphasising the importance of manners and grooming. So I suppose that makes you very self-conscious all the time.
And then you think people are watching you the whole time. Then you overanalyze things, and it's, if somebody touches your jacket or something, oh, why did they do that? Is it because I haven't cleaned it, or something along those lines?
And also exaggerating the danger of approaching strangers.
That's just social learning theory. If mum or dad is afraid of you being kidnapped or something like that, they are going to just transfer that onto you, and you will be transferring that onto younger brothers and sisters. If mum and dad have been overly protective, you yourself are going to be overly protective.
Well, we have run out of time, Audrey. Thank you so much for all your input today. It's been amazing.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And one thing that we do want to emphasise before we hear Nicola singing, as I said earlier about that part in her song where she said that she will become what she used to be, which I think is so positive, and this is something that is available for everyone, isn't it?
Absolutely.
As long as you never lose that hope and that belief that you can get better, then you can do it. You can overcome it, and with the right help, with the right guidance, it definitely is treatable, and you can overcome it and be happy again.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, we have reached the end of today's programme. Not almost, because we're going to hear Nicola singing, but just to give you a few details, if you want to get in touch with us, if you have a story that you would like to share, or if there's an experience that you've been through that you think will help inspire people, or if you're going through something you'd like to come and talk about it on the show, get some help even on the programme, or just to raise awareness. Maybe you don't have to come on, but just let us know what the subject is that you would like to talk about. You can visit our website, chrissybshow.tv. You can also tweet us at Chrissy B Show, or leave a message on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. So bye from me and Audrey, and now let's go to Nicola singing Social Anxiety.
Now I must what a life is sitting in my room. The dimmest light and even darker mood. But what the hell, I guess it's who I am. An epic fail, everyone's better than. I know I'll be free, free because I'll fight SAD and be who I once was. This is social anxiety, it keeps you from the world. And I don't know if I can be a more lonely girl. This is social anxiety, it keeps you from the world. And I don't know if I can be a more lonely girl. Lonely girl, 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 lonely girl. I'm very proud of myself. It was very positive, and I was nervous at first, but I calmed down, and yeah, I'm very happy. I feel like I've achieved a lot today.
And if you've missed the beginning of the programme, you can catch it up on YouTube. Catch it up? That doesn't make sense.
All right. Catch it.
Catch it up.
Or catch up. Either.
2, 1.
Welcome back to today's programme. Sorry, don't know where that came from. Welcome back everyone to our show all about coping with social anxiety, and I have Joylene. So let me tell you about my guest for today. We have a young, lovely, start again.